Going people, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another supporters club. You know what it is, it's international break, football's died down, everyone's following their international teams, allegiances. If you like international football, that is, let us know in the comment section below whilst you hit that like button. But obviously Arsenal still got about a couple weeks before we play again. Premier League action, couple of games before the big one, first here at the Emirates against Madrid, and then a week after that away at the Bernabeu. We'll see how that goes. We'll touch on it along this show. Obviously big up Chris Hudson in the building. It's just me and him, one-on-one with the great one. If you know that reference, let me know in the comment section below. But Chris, welcome back. Curtis couldn't make it with us today, but
we'll soldier on, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Class.
You're here. That's the most important. Even if I wasn't here, I think you run the show, because that's what it needs to be. But Chris is in the building, people, and as you saw last time out, the format changed up a little bit. We've got an extra added panel in the building to engage, add more conversation. We've got Jack, Ryan, Kenya and Ella in the building. Big up you lot, obviously. Think about what we're talking about, offer your opinions. Kenya's no stranger to offering opinions on this channel now. Big up Kenya. I haven't met Ella yet, personally, but you've also made your debut on this channel, so big up Ella. Ryan, just like me. I don't even need to introduce Ryan. And Jack, yeah. I'm glad you're wearing that t-shirt. It could have been worse.
Not the Havertz one today.
What I've seen
not the
behind the
Havertz
scenes,
one.
it could have been worse, Chris. I'm telling you, it could have been worse. But Chris, listen, we start smiling, we start on a laugh. But last time out on this show, it was early February. You mentioned one more injury and we're fucked. Not those words exactly.
No.
But we got one more injury and we're fucked, because we're out of the Premier League title race if there ever was one. And we've got Real Madrid around the corner, where some are optimistic at best, but that optimism really doesn't have the most solid of foundations. But you've seen this coming, you're no stranger to it, and Havertz dropped down literally a few days after you mentioned one more player. And do you feel like we've managed to, because it's been a few weeks since, do you think we've managed to figure something out since? Do you think?
I mean, if you think about it, we've not had a forward line since December, really. That's when Saka went down.
Because he is our forward man. Yeah, really, yeah.
And if you look at the league table, we're still 10 points ahead of Man City and 9 ahead of Chelsea. So in a way, you could say they have managed it. And Mourinho, for all his faults, ain't been that bad up front.
4 and 7, I think it is.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But it makes me think, if we had done things properly in the two transfer windows, Liverpool wouldn't have their flip-flops on and they wouldn't be 15, 12 points clear. So that's nagging away at me.
Foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah, you know, it's so sad. In life, you can't pick and choose when you're going to have a good season. And this is what this board have done in January. They've gone like that. And I'll never forgive them, Turkish.
Yeah, it's not the first time. You said that, Chris. It's not the last time we're going to say that. But you can look at it two ways as well, because people do mention that we are still second, you know, amidst an injury hit season, an unfortunate crisis in attack to start the new year, and then look at it and praise Mikel for it. And I think there's some foundation to that, 100%.
He's done well.
But at the same time, I'm with you. I look at the opportunity that we could have taken. I look around the league. And I also think that Mikel was slightly hampered by people above him too. I'm not taking all responsibility away from him, but hampered at the very least. And I think we should focus on that side of things, however negative that might be. Because I understand focusing on the positives when things are going well, of course. Don't drag it down. But this season, things haven't gone well, have they, Chris?
No, from day one, when Mourinho done his shoulder in training. There's been so many things this season.
Sterling even. That's
Sterling.
That 0 day. Yeah. That Netflix. That was zero. If you haven't watched the end of 0 day, it's Sterling signs for Arsenal. That's the end. Sorry to ruin it, people, but
we've had red cards, some weird, terrible refereeing decisions. The whole season has been one of ag. That's the word I'm looking for. But here we are with 10 games to go. We're still second. We're still on course to qualify for next year's Champions League. And on the horizon, we've got a massive game coming up against Madrid. Yeah. Now, my heart says we'll win, but my head says we won't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Everyone's heart should be saying win, because you know. But then, yeah, like you, my head's telling me, yeah, don't listen to your heart, mate. It's not going to go well. Yeah, you can get heartburn at the very least like that. Listen, let me bring in the panel quickly. I want one word from each of you first and foremost. Sitting here, international break with the Premier League over. I don't know if any of you believe there's any chance, but over. Real Madrid around the corner. One word to describe your emotion right now. For example, optimistic, not too, well, that's too optimistic, pessimistic, frustrated, intrigued. These are words you could all use. But yeah, Jack, let me start with you. How are you feeling?
We'll go with disheartened. I was going to say disappointed, but you just said it, so we'll go, yeah, disheartened.
Makes sense.
No, I'm going to say realistic, because I've been holding that thought from early about the whole season. And just like Chris said, man, if we had addressed these issues, that's where it's coming in now. Look, we're not that far off. And if we address them with all the problems other teams, you know, we'd be running away, man. This is Arne Slot's first season. So yeah, realistic, man. We mashed it up, man.
Yeah, realistic. Kenya?
Neutral. What is there to say? It's just more of like, it's a matter of fact type of thing. That's how I feel. I'm gonna go with belief, just because there is.
Robbie would love that.
there is so much like negativity around the game, and rightly so, because of, you know, what's happened behind the scenes and in the windows. But you know, if we've got to believe, we've got every single fan has got to get behind the game, and you know, it will be so important, the atmosphere in the Emirates in the first leg. So yeah, we've got to believe. If not belief, then what else?
Yeah. Chris, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Madrid yet, but I mean, it essentially, you know, defines the season, because
yeah, of course it does. But the thing is, let's face it, they're the biggest club side in the world. People keep telling me Man United are the biggest club in the world, but they were, say, 20 years ago. But at this moment, Real Madrid are the biggest, because when they go for a player, I'll be careful what I say here, every player on this planet wants to play for them.
Yeah.
Not every player on the planet wants to play for Man United.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So, you know.
Why are you careful with what you say?
Well, because obviously they come sniffing.
That knock on the door, and that is a different knock. Remember the old, what's it, Raul Sanley talking about?
And you know, I mean, they could come and offer a lot of money, but I think Saliba is, you know, let's talk about him. I think he'd stay for another season. But funny enough, we might be worrying about the other centre half. But perhaps we'll get onto that, you know, later.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about it now. I mean, it's a big chance for us or some of them players out there to make their mark. We were just talking off camera, me and Kenya especially, talking about Saka and Rodrigo and debating who's better, and one of the arguments I brought up was, you know, at that stage in the Champions League we've seen top performances. Now Saka hasn't been there enough like Rodrigo has over the last few years, or at a team like Real Madrid. But now is the time. I'm not looking at Saka, he's coming back from injury even if he does make it. But now is the time for a Declan Rice in the midfield. Now is the time for a Saliba and Gabriel. It's all good and well building that reputation along these last 2 years as one of, if not the best defensive outfit, not just in England, maybe across Europe too, or one of top three, let's say.
The ironic thing is, who would Declan Rice be up against? Danny Ceballos. How ironic is that?
Will it be him?
Possibly.
It could be. Yeah,
he's been playing for him, but he's been injured lately.
Yeah,
but
he
could play.
Well, we've come full circle then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even Ceballos has a go at us and we say, yeah, you're right, mate. But we have to heavily rely on the defensive side of things for this game. But Chris, something I've been worried about, and the question I go back to earlier on when I said, do you think we figured it out? And you said yes. I look at it a bit differently going into the Real game, because since the Havertz injury and Marino coming in, I think Marino's done well. And I think he is probably the closest to Havertz. But we also spoke off camera, if we go a goal down, inevitably we're going to concede against Real Madrid. It's not that, you know.
Yeah.
If we were to go a goal down, if that goal was to be the first goal of the game, or, you know, then how do we have a plan B? Have you seen enough from us in the last few games to say we can change it up and be able to create more chances?
Well, I think we're going to need Saka on the pitch.
Would you, if he's 70% going into that first leg?
Yeah. But you've got to be careful. I don't want to see, it's really, that's me taking that decision, but Arteta, in the cold light of day. You can't throw him on the pitch and then bang, he goes again. You know what I mean? But that, I like to think if they're putting him in the squad, that the doctors and all the physicians at the Arsenal, they know that he's ready.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be stupid enough to take a chance.
But there's also a twinge of back in our day, but 20 years ago, like a player would be 70% fit. Their ankle could have
They'd be playing all the time.
They'd be playing. So there's a bit of that in it as well.
Yeah.
But then again, the managers back then, if they were to play a player coming back off injury and the player got injured, there wasn't too much criticism on the manager back then because.
Well, I think in those days they used to take a lot of
injections and
And I think these days that's in fact Wenger finished that. He said no injections.
Yeah.
He's the one who stopped that in English football.
That's Football Manager. That's how I remember the injections going
no
across
more.
the season. So, yeah, but it is our biggest game. So, let me start with you, Ella. Would you start Saka if 70% fit?
I'm not sure I would take the risk. We're talking about the first leg.
Am I talking about the first leg? There's very little chance maybe you lot can help me out here, Jack. Is there any chance he plays in the first leg? There is. All right, so the first leg, let's say 70% fit going into the first leg. Emirates, we have to get something from the Emirates fixture.
I'm not sure I start him if he's 70% fit because of how badly I would want him to play in the second leg, particularly. Because if we go to the Bernabeu and it's a draw, and then we get the news that Saka can play, that is huge. Like, that is absolutely huge.
What about we get smoked here?
Yeah, well.
Then we don't want Saka to play that second leg because.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
No point. So it is a balance. So you'd probably prefer to see him off the bench than first leg if need be.
I really wouldn't want us to take any risks. Towards the end of the season, I know this game is kind of the pinnacle of our season, but now I'm looking forward to next season, and I want him to be the best he can be and in the best physical fitness that he can be. So I'm not sure I would really take that risk.
Ryan?
Yeah, I wouldn't take that risk at all, man.
Yeah.
I think personally, remember last season, depleted Bayern at home? We should never be drawing at home to depleted Bayern, and that's the better Arsenal. Now, same way I see it now, this is even depleted Real Madrid team can beat a better Arsenal team. That's how I see it. I do think, look, we forget my mentality. I'm not on the pitch. I think we're going to get smoked in it. Players can't be going into the game like that. But at the same time, like, should we really be rushing Saka back? He's already been overplayed for seasons. You know what I'm saying? That's our star boy, and you're going to do him harm. Like, players suffer from burnout.
But let's say it's you.
Yeah.
Because me and you kind of think alike on a lot of things. I've seen a lot of your interviews and stuff. Yeah. And the criticism on the socials as well. I get a bit of that. But if it's you, yeah, like we've mentioned, Saka hasn't been at this stage long enough to have built a reputation, even though his last campaign was a quality campaign. You're 70% fit. This is Real Madrid, 2 games. I would personally, probably if I was 50% fit, I'd say, yeah, let me go out there, because it's the biggest. It would be the biggest game he's been in for Arsenal. That's for sure.
No, I completely hear what you're saying.
Would you want to play?
Me personally, if that was me in that position, of course, I'd want to jump on that pitch. Like, looking at it objectively now, that Saka's the future of this club. Like, he could have the Saliba thing happening where, we might lose him eventually. Yeah, fair enough. But like, I don't think it's worth risking him based on the fact that, in a way, there is. I can see where you're coming from. That's the only thing we got going on for us. You know what I'm saying? But like, realistically, I think it's not good for his long-term development. I think we need to start thinking like that. But we are next season FC. It's people that mock us about, So like, yeah, do we really? I could see the catch-22. So like, I'm leaning towards no based on longevity, but at the same time, yeah, if he's there, and that's the only chance we have, because we don't have many great attackers at the moment, fit. So like, I'd still lean towards no, but I could understand why people would want him just thrown in, at least in that away leg. Like I said, if we win at home, I think it would be good as well to have him in that away leg, because like, if we concede, the away goals was gone now anyway, but if we win that game at home, I do think that's when we have a chance to win, which was the other way around, where we played second leg at home.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out. They're 20-something.
The thing is, though, Madrid is the biggest game, but if we win it,
the next game's the biggest game. Yeah, you're right. It's a tough. It's it's a tough one.
You know what I mean?
It could be a win-win. It could be a lose-lose. Like, there's not, you know.
And then who did we get in the semi-final? It was Villa or PSG.
Yeah.
I fancy us to beat Villa. I don't care how good his record is, Emery, in Europe.
Even PSG would
So
play
then,
very different.
so then, hold on. Should we play him against Villa? You know what I mean? It's all.
We're going too far now. We're going Villa and PSG.
I'm in Munich now. Where's my ticket?
Tickets booked. But you know the most, and I want to link it to what we were talking about before. You know what the most frustrating part is, Chris? Forget what I think Arteta could have done over the last few games in maybe Nwaneri in the 10, or Odegaard the 8, Rice in the 6, or maybe Martinelli up top against. Forget all that for a sec. The board could have done something in January. You know, Saka could have been coming into a team with a new striker, a new left winger, a new player that's hit the ground running, maybe even alone. We've seen 1-2 doing well at Aston Villa that we talked about. And that's the negligence of the board yet again. But we're going to confirm, I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but Andrea Berta, new sporting director coming in. And he comes in with, and again, you have been supporting Arsenal a lot longer than me, but this is refreshing for me because it's not often Arsenal have a list of names, whether that's in the transfer window or in the roles above the manager, and there's a name maybe first or second on that list, and we get that name. It's not often, and I feel like this time round we've done that. And what's interesting to me, Chris, is Arteta mentioned 2 weeks into February when asked about the sporting director, he said, I don't know, it's not a question for me, it's them. Which made me think, so you're not really playing a part in this then? Okay, let's see. Ornstein's announced that it's happening. Richard Garlick and Tim Lewis are the main ones behind it. Kroenke's overseeing it, and Arteta they had a word with him. So it very much feels like he's come in without much to do with Arteta. For example, we were linked to Rosicky before and Alabe, where there was connections there. This appointment feels different to me. Am I getting a bit carried away by it?
No.
Or do you feel like it is a step up in the way we've recruited in these positions?
Well, I'm glad it's not. I don't think he's a yes man.
That's the point, yeah.
You wouldn't be leaving Atletico Madrid. He's worked with
Simeone, yeah.
He don't mess about.
No other, yeah.
I mean, Arteta's a pussycat compared to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And another thing, he wouldn't have left Madrid, and I take it he would have been interviewed, and he would have asked Arsenal questions, just as much as Arsenal asking him. So that gives me a lot of optimism, and it's going to be very interesting to see who we bring in.
Yeah.
And the thing is he going to be working off the list? What's been happening? When Edu got the sack, what have the recruitment team been doing since September? Have they been doing grand work? And does this man, he may not agree with what Arsenal have been, say he may not agree with Sesko.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
He must say, I don't want Sesko, but we've done all this work.
Yeah.
I want Cunha.
Do you think, before I go back to the panel, because now we're talking, I've never looked at it from this angle, but do you think there's weight to the argument that, because I always look at the owners, right? And a lot of people will tell me, but look at the manager, look what he's done, look how he spent the money. Why would you as an owner give him more money to do this when he bought in Havertz, for example, right? And I usually just fob that off and I'm just like, yeah, it could, I just don't see it. Maybe there's weight to it if they've gone on and recruited this sort of a sporting director. Maybe they're thinking we need someone to, level this place up. He comes in and Berta steps into this club as the most experienced football man.
Right, that.
Without a doubt, even including Arteta's years at Man City. Berta's been doing it longer. He also comes in with a love for football. Like I've done some background research when he was a businessman, whatever field, I think banking. He was still sporting director or organising local games, his local team, sporting director, alongside. So that shows it's a passion of his, which I love as well. So do you think that holds weight, that maybe this appointment's coming in to not ruffle feathers in a negative way, but shake it up a little?
Yeah, I think he's coming in to shake up and ruffle feathers. And I include the manager in that. Yeah. I think he might put a bit of, I'm not Arteta out at the moment, so I know a lot of people are, but not in a million years. But next season, he's going to be under so much pressure.
He has to win
it. He has to, you know what I mean? And he's got to pull it off next year, Turkish. He has to. But say he doesn't, have Arsenal brought this man in to bring the next man in, if you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because he holds that weight across football as well, Simeone being the most common link over the last 10 years. Jack, what do you make of it as a very younger fan than myself and Chris? Does this appointment feel different to you, or do you think I could be falling for the same bullshit? Because Raul Sanllehi as well, he came in with a bit of a reputation, not like Berta, but a bit of a reputation, and we saw how that ended.
Yeah, I'm glad we've got someone that has a reputation, a little bit of gravitas about them. Chris was saying it last time. If you're Isak or Nico Williams, you get a phone call, hi, it's Jason Ato, or hi, it's Thomas Rosicky. You're going to put the phone back down. Like, you're going to be convinced.
I'm busy, mate.
We all laugh at the role like, oh, it's a different knock, but at least he had a bit about him of like, you're probably going to get talked into it. So the fact that we've got someone, he's got a reputation, he's going to be known within the sport, he's done it before. Look at Atletico strikers that they've had. Like, he's just got something about him, and like you say, he's not going to be a yes man.
No.
One of my main criticisms of Arteta over the past few years has been he's very sentimental to his players. It's could do with an upgrade at striker, but Havertz is my guy. Or maybe we could do with a left winger, but I really like Martinelli, like he's one of us. I just think a fresh set of eyes that has no attachment to Arsenal whatsoever, that can just objectively look at this squad and say, we need this. I don't care whether you really like Martinelli or Havertz is a really great guy for the dressing room. Goals mean points, points mean titles. So get the sentiment out the way. Here's my overlook.
And when you look at what he's done, and I'm sure you have as well over his time at Atletico, many strikers that have worked, and then there's some that haven't. And as with all managers and sporting directors, but the pace of the turnaround when a Jackson Martinez doesn't work, for example, he ain't there 2 years later starting or relied upon. Even a Felix who came in, maybe a bit of a panic with Griezmann going, that we have money to spend. He was actually, in my opinion, behind Mbappe and Haaland, the third most promising youngster in world football. So again, when I look at you've lost Griezmann, you've gone for, you can't get Mbappe or Haaland, but let's get this one here, which shows, so he's also shown that, if a player does come in, with Martinelli now, it's been 2 years, for example, we've been waiting on his form to reach that level again. But you are right, there's a certain affinity there because he works hard and maybe does everything that he needs to do aside from the regular duties as a winger. So I guess that brings in confidence. Kenya, I want to hear your thoughts on Berta as well, and are you going to bring us down to earth again, or are you as optimistic about this as I am?
No, I'm actually very happy. I thought when we were originally linked with him, I think the only other person that I was like, okay, we should maybe get a look into him is Dan Ashworth, because he's also another guy that's been there. Look what he's done at Newcastle. He's completely rebranded that club. Being there, so your sporting director is so important. But what I like about this guy, as Jack said, he's brought in so many strikers. He brought in Julian Alvarez. Look how he's keeping, Julian Alvarez is helping that Atletico team potentially go and win a title. They're in a title race right now. We can't say the same. So I actually agree. I was really against the Thomas Rosickys and stuff like that, because I think one thing you can say about Mikel Arteta since he's been here is that he's almost padded the room with friends. He's almost padded the room with people that says, yes, I'm going to listen to what you say. I'm never going to question you. And look, a lot of fans have said, well, when there have been players that have questioned him, he's got rid of them. And I think it's nice to have someone who's, as you said, very experienced, knows what he's doing, and is actually going to say, actually, mate, we're not getting that guy. We're going to get this guy because he's proven. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I think we look at Edu. Edu's had a few good things, but he's also had a few bad things. We'll link to Rodrigo Muniz under Edu. That's pathetic. Whereas this guy, he's not going to do that. He's going to say, right, we're getting the best of the best. So I'm excited to have him. I think we definitely need it. And it's a step up for the club now to, say we are the big club. We are Arsenal Football Club. We are getting the best of the best. We want to win the league. We want to win the Champions League. And you have to make these steps upstairs if you want to do that.
Yeah, even the Spanish striker, Nigerian descent, Samu Ajawa, he bought him, and then sold him on quickly after a year. And two names with strikers, Chris, that come to mind in a very different way. We've mentioned Julian Alvarez, Kenya, and Felix, the big money, the attraction, they're top young players at the time. Love that. David Villa, on his way out at Barca, doesn't look like he's that player anymore.
I used to love him.
He comes into Atletico 1 year, wins the title, and again 10 years later, Suarez, it looks like he's done, brings him in. This ain't Raheem Sterling. This is David Villa and Luis Suarez that go on to help them win a title. You get? So even that side of things, even if there is a bit of hampering going on from above, he's shown that he can get quality young players and flip money. Rodri 20 to 70 million in 12 months.
Or Black.
All black, and he's been one of the best keepers in the world for 12 years now.
Yeah.
From Benfica, I think they bought him like 15 M's. So all in, I've seen very different angles that I like a lot. But on the flip side of things, now you mentioned it earlier, you know, looking at the transfer window a bit. Actually, before the stream started, you mentioned how, you know, percentage-wise, I'm similar to you. There's probably 60% left on this season and 40% I'm looking around the corner to the transfer window. What do you make of all the upsurge in rumours now? International football's here and there's a break, plus Arsenal ain't really in anything but the Champions League, so these rumours are going to come thick and fast. One of the rumours are Isak's our top target. Another rumour is Saudi are in for Gabriel. So how are you feeling hearing?
Thing is, though, I'm not sure about Isak going to the Arsenal. I'm not sure. I don't think. How much do they want for him, Turkish?
I'd say you could probably get him for 125, 120. Yeah.
I can see Arsenal. I can see more Acuna at 70 and a wide attacker, say the boy from Bournemouth. So I'm buying two players for one Isak.
Yeah, and to be honest, they'd probably be. You could probably get one more in there and still be the same.
And I've still got money left to buy. We need a midfield player. Mm-hmm. We're going to need another utility defender, and obviously we're going to buy a goalkeeper. We got to buy a keeper. But on the Gabriel front, that's why I don't want him to go. He's too young to go to Saudi. But if someone's offering that mind-blowing money, it can change your whole life. Not just him, it's his family, isn't it? That's set him up.
Yeah.
It's set him up and his family for another 5 lifetimes.
Yeah, 5 generations in.
So,
easy.
You know what? And he nearly got tempted the last time, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was benched to start that season.
Yeah,
I think his head
perhaps that's why they're looking at Hato at Ajax.
Oh, is
There's
that a rumour
rumours
as well?
about that, yeah. And we still got Ben White. So I am worried about the Gabriel situation. And funny enough, I'm more worried about that in Saliba.
Yeah,
because out of the two of them, I think Gabriel's had a better season. I think Gabriel, I would go say one of the best centre backs in Europe, stroke world.
Yeah,
and I mean that.
No, yeah. And the partnership
is you don't. If we by some miracle get to the Champions League final, it won't be down to the fault. It'll be down to those two.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, but I wouldn't blame. The sort of money they're offering is mind blowing.
It'll turn a lot of people's head.
Yeah, and the money they might offer Stan is tempting, isn't it? So it'll be possibly down to Gabriel actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, we need to build on what we've got, and I'm not interested in, because there's often that question. Oh, would you take the 100 million?
No, I don't. No.
We've got 80 mil we've made from Champions League so far, so we've got money to.
There's certain
burn.
players in the Arsenal team are totally non-negotiable leaving, and he's one of them.
100%.
I mean, I'd rather sell.
He's a choice of captain, really. We look at him or Rice as potential.
I'd rather sell. Who would I rather sell? And I'd rather sell Calafiori for 80 million. You know. Sorry, but I would.
Yeah, I don't think you need to be sorry either. It would be really nice to see him left centre back sometime this season as well, to see, you know, because he's played there many times.
I'd rather sell before I sell Gabriel.
All right, let me ask you a question, because Ornstein's come out, and I'm going to ask the panel too, so think of a name. Ornstein's come out recently, surprise, surprise. We might have to let go of a player of value to, you know, help with the net spend and what plans of the summer. I'm not going to list out the players of value to you, but who's
Trossard.
But I probably wouldn't include value in him because he's got a year left and he's 30.
Then Calafiori.
Calafiori would be a one. You think he's? How much did we spend on him? 40.
40, and we could.
You think
sell
he's
him
worth
for
more
about
now?
50. You could get more money for him, yeah.
A quick 20 mil maybe.
Not that I want to, but you've asked me the question.
Yeah. No, that's what Ornstein's saying. A lot of people say Ornstein's the main man for Arsenal, so it could be true. You know how I feel about these in the nose. Jack, one player of value that might need to leave Arsenal this summer, who would your pick be?
Gabriel Martinelli. I think he's elite in transition. I think he's very good when teams attack you. You know, if you can get him in space, get him running with the ball, he's great. But Arsenal have progressed past that now. Teams now respect us. They sit back, and I personally don't think when there's a low block, he necessarily has the intelligence to finish in from outside the box, not that footballing IQ to do that. If you're a little bit lower down the league and, you know, you've got like an Everton coming at you and you can get him in behind when they commit forward, amazing. But for where we are now, it's been 2 years now when we've been fighting for the title, and both years happen to be the years we've not seen the best of him. So,
and a fair price for him?
60,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. Ella.
Yeah, if not Trossard, who I was going to say, then I'd have to agree. Although I don't think we get 60 from him unless he does end up going to Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that. But I literally cannot name another player in our team that we could afford to lose, like a big player. We can't. We're trying to build on what we have, not sell our best players and then get someone in who's not as good, but oh well. Like, that's not what we're trying to do here. I think it's a little bit sad with what's happened to Martinelli, to be honest, because in his first couple of seasons he was so good and he had a certain unpredictability about him, which now is gone.
That was the best. That was actually probably the best thing about him them times. Even though we all looked at him and said, "Hone this in a little bit," but we didn't mean hone it in this much to the point where it's. And Arteta's got a part to play in that, maybe the requirements of the position, but it's also been detrimental to our style of play and chance creation and whatnot. But I tend to agree with Martinelli. Ryan?
You know what? I'm leaning towards Martinelli as well. It's a bit of a grey area for me because when you say player of value, he's not been a player of value.
I just mean...
No, I hear what you're saying.
I think 50 M's we could probably...
Yeah, I think, look, whatever happens, we're going to profit on him. We didn't really pay much for him. I think a player of value at the moment, it's a bit of a weird one because of Zubimendi coming in and stuff like that. But, Thomas Partey's been one of our best players this season. Like, we can't take that away. Like, he's had some poor games, but it's on one hand compared to how good. And, he's carried us, I think, because at times we pushed Declan Rice up, when he should be the sixth. But I would actually go for that, just, based on the age.
He's end of contract.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He's
probably
they're talking
going
about
Barca, right? I think he's going Barca.
Then they're still doing that, aren't they? Like taking free transfers. I'd probably leave. Look, I'll say Martinelli as well, but that's based on him regressing. I do think the last 18 to 2 years, we've not seen the best of him. Do I really want to? I don't have a lot of faith with him in the Bernabeu. He's probably going to be that guy, with Mourinho, and I do think that if that's the player value where we're looking at the whole squad at the minute, we cannot touch our two centre backs. There's no way. That's just breaking what's the best of us. So I would go in towards our attack, which is, it's not great. We split the goals over the few years, but I think if I was to look at our attack, I'd probably sell him because we can make a profit on him, and I do think it's time to go. Take the sentiment away. We all love Martinelli; he's a fan favourite, but I do think he's not working in the system under Arteta. He was great under Emery, though.
Yeah, no, it's a shame. And listen, we talked about Saka earlier against Real Madrid. As disappointed as I've been, and maybe a lot of us have been with Martinelli over the last 2 years, he's got 2 games coming up where there ain't much hope in it, and he might be one of the ones that we look at to do something,
Berta,
and we look at it very different. You help us do something there, then we'll talk again. Kenya, who would be your player of value there?
I think there's quite a few. I think Martinelli is probably the most obvious choice, but you also have someone like Jakub Kiwior, where you've got a lot of teams in Europe that like him. He doesn't get any game time for us, and I think now that we've got Calafiori, who can play backup left centre back as well, who's also not to say that Jakub isn't, he's a Polish international, but Calafiori, we all saw what he's like in Euros. He's very trusted centre back there. He can play in a back three as well. He's a bit more adaptable. So you could sell Jakub Kiwior. There's Alexander Zinchenko, who Borussia Dortmund are very interested in. You could sell him as well. I'd say, Martinelli is probably the most obvious choice. I really like Martinelli, and I think he would benefit as a good squad player, not as a starter, but he's young. He's athletic, and I think the only reason he's kind of regressed is because of the way that we play. I actually think he's still really good, but he just doesn't suit how we play. If he played at a Barcelona or even at a Liverpool, I think we'd still see Martinelli of old. But he's probably the main choice, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear it, and I agree. Like I said, the style of play and the way we've moved in the last 2 years has had an impact. I'm going to come back to the panel again. Back to you, Chris. One name that you'd like us to bring in this summer?
It's got to be a striker.
Yeah, well, I assume so, but I'm wherever. Cunha, okay. And Berta has actually dealt with him as well. He signed him for Atletico, it didn't work out.
I think I really rate him. The only down about him, he has got a bit of a loose cannon temper.
which I don't mind if he gets away with it, but if he doesn't, that's when it has an
I
impact.
don't want to be buying he's getting suspended for 6 matches for something doing thumping someone on the. You know what I mean?
We get players suspended for
you've
less,
asked
so
me a
if you're going to
name.
be suspended, I don't mind if you're getting suspended that way, but he's a good player.
I like him.
Thing about him is, I look at probably the value 60 million, and I think
Yes, please.
I'd like him alongside Gyökeres, alongside an Isak, alongside a top striker coming in, or a top left winger. One name, Jack, for you?
Isak's obviously the dream, but being a bit more realistic, I'm saying Sesko. I think there's a lot of people out there that look at him and look at his numbers and say, he's only getting like 17 goals this season. It's not enough. But you can't get these ready-made strikers anymore. And you look back a couple of years ago when we were looking at Isak from Sociedad, so many fans were saying, he's only got like 7 goals this season. He's not a great finisher. We don't want that guy. We ended up passing, and look at him now. So
Why do you say Isak's not realistic, though?
Isak, I think, it's all reliant on Champions League, I think, for Newcastle.
I don't even think that.
Really?
I think that's just a myth.
I can't see...
Like, a player going into your late 20s, it's not... If you've got ambition, it's not to play in the Champions League, it's to win the Champions League.
I just think the fact that they've just won a trophy is obviously loved
I'm
up
not saying we've got more chance by that before people start. Newcastle fans in the...
Turkish thing.
I know what's going on.
I just think that there's so many variables involved for me. If Arsenal want to get Alexander Isak, I think they need to not get Champions League. He needs to ask to leave and force his way out, and we need to stump up a record fee and beat the likes of a Liverpool maybe. I just think there's so much involved that has to happen.
So why don't you drop down to a Gyökeres or a Osimhen, or like, why is it straight to a Sesko?
I don't think straight to a Sesko is necessarily like it's a big jump. Gyökeres is a bit older. So you've seen Championship, you've seen the Portuguese League. I think Sesko, you look at his attributes. I don't want to compare him to Haaland because that's crazy, but playing in Germany, he's incredibly quick. He's tall. He shoots with a lot of power. He shoots on sight, which is something we don't have.
Numbers ain't great though.
He just Isak's numbers weren't great.
I know, but
I just think
the excuses come with a young Sesko. He has to acclimatise. He hasn't bagged 20 before, and I'm sorry, next season I feel sick if I hear shit like that, because
I just think
don't buy the young player then.
I forgot Osimhen.
Yeah, Osimhen, yeah. I'd feel like I wouldn't mind the young striker with a top striker. Sorry. I'm a bit blunt with how I talk, but
he can be both.
No, I love it, man.
No, again, look.
What about Liam Delap? If we're talking young, if we're talking young strikers, I think Liam Delap's just has as much potential as a Sesko or a Samuel Adjirawa.
I just see so much in Sesko, the fact that he wants to run in behind, which is something none of our players do. He wants to shoot on sight, which we don't do. He shoots with power. He's athletic. We know Nicolas Jova loves a tall guy that can jump high, so maybe that's
set piece.
Yeah, exactly. So I can see a little mural of Sesko jumping nice and high, and
I can imagine
Nicolas Jova celebrating. So look, I just think his attributes bring so much what we want from a striker that maybe at his age it's worth a gamble more than an Osimhen or someone who's just that little bit older and maybe has a bit more of an ego possibly.
Alright, cool. Kenya.
Oh, me. I'm actually stuck between 3 names. I don't really know. I think that I'd probably say out of the 3, Victor Gyökeres is probably who I'd go for. He's done it. What else is there to say? The guy, I saw his stats yesterday. He's even got 1 more goal than Salah. I think that says it all, innit? He benches Alexander Isak when he goes for international duty. That shows that this guy is like he's top level. Look what he does in the Champions League. Like I love him. I think he'd be perfect. Yeah. And as Jack said, he's tall. He shoots with power. He shoots on sight. Like, what is there else to say?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you bid for Isak 120, 125, Newcastle say no, I'm on phone to Gyökeres the next day. That's how I look at it. If it is unrealistic, I just want us to find out. Ryan.
Yeah, as much as I'd love an Isak, I'd love him because I think he's prime proven. We don't have to worry too much. I would go for Gyökeres because I've always wanted him as well. I just think it's, our club are they're gonna be a bit iffy with the fee, as well as the fact that Isak's seen us. Bigger clubs might want to go for him. We should be ambitious and go. I feel like we're just participating in the Champions League at the minute with no chance of winning it. People want to win this, and Isak's a top striker. I'd go for Gyökeres, and if we had Gyökeres now, I'd feel like we'd even have a chance at the Bernabeu, even with other injuries. Yeah. And I feel like if we like, as much as you said Sesko and that, but with Sesko, it's like, I'm sorry, but we can't keep doing this every season. We need someone that's just right there and ready to go. I know sometimes it's not the case, But like we can't keep experimenting. We've been experimenting for the longest, man.
Like Oba, how he came.
Yeah, that's you. I was about to say that. That's what I want to say.
There's a lot of examples either
So,
way. Some
yeah.
need a year to settle, but some you get
That
in and
ready made. Like we paid what 56 million then, yeah. With Oba, if we had him in our depleted team, that was Trench's time. You get
Oh,
me?
yeah.
Listen, I was watching that, and even though we were useless everywhere else, we had a striker. Now we got mostly everything else, but we ain't got nothing up front. So like it's just we need something like that. We have a ruthless striker. We could do something. I've got £1,000 riding with Robbie. Yeah, that we're gonna lose this. Like I know. I said if Arsenal pass Real Madrid, I'll donate £1,000.
Okay.
I said that.
Yeah.
I ain't got no money. Like, that is what. Robbie, I ain't got no peas, But this is what I'm trying to say. It's just like everyone's got so much optimism. Yeah, look, I'll find a way to pay that. Don't watch that. But that's how much. That's what I'm saying. But the reason I'm saying that more than anything, yes, we got depleted team elsewhere as well with these injuries, but we haven't got that ruthless striker, and we've always had something lacking for so long. We've had this striker problem before this. Why so long after Van Persie we get Aubameyang? Can't live with Giroud. Even getting cheap players like Lucas Perez.
Yeah.
Yes, he was linked to Barcelona and all that, but we never addressed these problems. Henry left. We had Adebayor. Eduardo did well to the injury. I got PTSD from all that, man. Shamak, Park Chu-young last minute. This is how Arteta has a reputation. Yaya Sanogo. Remember breaking news? Arsenal have made a signing. Yaya Sanogo. And then we get Mesut Ozil on the last day, which was on paper good. I didn't want him though because we should have got Suarez. But this club has history. I'm going off the evidence. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm going off the evidence. We don't address problems.
change it up, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. We need a goal quest. We need something ready-made. Oba had the problems at Dortmund. We just you know what? Lacazette's not been doing it this first half of the season. We've just signed him. We finally got a striker, but we need to do it. Act like that. Get a Gyökeres.
Yeah.
I think Sesko's all right. But we need someone that's ruthless. Yeah, man, come on, man, Gyökeres, man.
That's all it is.
Come on, Gyökeres, all day, man.
Gyökeres, another Gyökeres. Ella, round it off. Who would you like to see come in?
It's such a tough discussion, and to be honest, I am a little bit undecided still, which doesn't help this conversation much. But yeah, for me, obviously, it goes without saying that Isak is the dream. The already comparisons with Henry. We could see the stars aligning at Arsenal, but I'm not sure that's entirely realistic that we get him. And to be honest with you, I'm really not sure that there is much between Sesko and Gyökeres. I do think both still could be a gamble in our system, and both of them have different strong points. Both of them kind of bring different things to our team. I'm not sure I've seen enough of both of them play, but in January I was hoping for Sesko.
Okay.
I just think he's that kind of tool. I think, like Jack was saying, that Haaland-esque player.
Do you remember the last tall Haaland-esque type player that came to England? Hoyland.
Yeah. No, you're not.
And
You're
his
not.
name was
You're not wrong.
not far off that name as well. He was a bit closer to the comparison.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there.
So let's hope it doesn't go that way. Because I like the look of Sesko too. It's not. I've seen enough excuses over the years to know that that's going to be the next one.
I hear it, but I really would be happy with Sesko or Gyökeres.
Yeah.
But I really hope the club pushes for Isak.
Mm-hmm. If you're going with a right gunslinger, no one's mentioned obviously men no more, are they?
Oh, he just hit 20. He scored a hat trick last weekend. He just hit 20.
He's goals, isn't he?
Yeah. Mixed bag. I got a lot of Nigerian friends, and most gets him. He could be the one. And then there's a small percentage that are like, nah. And I just think to myself, Nigerians are very loyal as well. So even the few that are saying nah, I'm thinking, why though? Why? What's because a Nigerian striker asks you'd love that, nah? They say Messi, but then the other would say the work rate fits in with Arteta's chance, creation because of how sporadic he is with his runs in behind. And I wouldn't mind, honestly, man. I just think I call January delicious in terms of a window. Summer is delicious again. There ain't no excuses.
No.
There's players galore. We just need to get the job done. It's time to move like the big club we are. It's time to compete with the likes of Bayern Munich.
I think we all agree we don't want a saga.
Nah.
I don't want
We ain't
go
got time
through
to
all.
waste.
Yeah. So when that plane takes off for their father, wherever they're going
Everyone
pre-season,
in.
I want everyone on it. I want that, all the shirts.
Yeah. Smiling.
And I want the plane, boom, pre-season tour.
Yeah, that's it. Ready.
I don't want Turkish. What are we doing, man?
Yeah. I've had the messages a couple of times over the years.
I don't want that.
Yeah, none of us do. I just want to say big up to the panel, big up Jack, Ryan, Kenya, and
Thanks.
Ella. Played a big part. Do you have socials? What's going on here? Let's start with Ella. What do you do? What's your main social media?
Yeah, I mean, TikTok and Instagram for me. Instagram is Ella_Smesner, trying to grow that platform in particular.
Okay, let's make sure we put the socials in the description as well.
Yeah.
Kenya?
At Kenya Lyle. That's it.
Yeah. Straight. Ryan?
Yeah, at Ryan_Colaco, COLACO. Yeah, I work in the film industry. Apparently I'm jobless in it, but but I work in the film industry. I've done shoots for Arsenal as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
man.
Big Jack.
Yeah, cool.
Havertz fan club.
Yeah,
Havertz_.
do you know what? It's Jack Demport 34 on TikTok and all that, and it was Granite Xhaka and Coquelin.
People, it's in the description, so obviously go show them some love. Chris, you can find him right here. He was recently on Dan Potts channel, Football's 12th Man.
Twitter, man.
Twitter, there you go. It's Chris Hudson, right? But
Yeah.
Chris with a 1 instead of the I.
C Hudson 1.
There you go, people. Go follow Chris. He's over on X, but you find him here on Supporters Club. Pleasure as always, Chris. Panel, love, people, love for the love. Hit the like button. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Have you enjoyed? Give us your thoughts. Who's the number 1 target for you? If we put Isak to the side, like everyone's pretty much done here, who's your number 1 target? Let us know. And Real Madrid, next time we talk, Chris, are we in the semi-finals?
We're there, Villa Park.
He's already thinking about Munich. People, hit the like button. Love for the love. We're out. Peace.